Hi, this is Shirish Kulkarni, founder and CEO of Stroth Consultech, been running this company for the last 5 years, helping small and medium businesses to grow. With this initiative called as Hatke, we are meeting some individuals who are definitely differentiated, and we can call them as Hatke, uh, have achieved a lot of laurels in their professional career and also in the industrial space. And there are some individuals who have dedicated their life for a larger size contributions that one has to make towards people who are not able to really get there. So we have with us Vishpala Hundekari, and we will talk about her aspiration, passion as we speak. But great to have you on this forum, Vishpala.
Thank you so much, Shirish. And the whole introduction, like initially when we spoke, I knew you had done some 8, 10 videos that time. Now with 70 people who have type of names I heard, I'm truly feeling honored. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Super, super. I think it's a mutual feeling. It is a platform which is neutral to bring out aspirations and aspects which are something that will spread happiness and positivity. Wonderful. Now let me go back and ask you about what is this? This is a big, very creative thing called as creative dignity, and there would be a lot of meaning here, behind even this name as you have for your venture, with a great amount of time that you spent around 12 years for your own business venture, and then last 18 years you have been contributing towards this artisans for their livelihood, bringing them to the forum, bringing them to the reality contributions that they need to have, the visibility they need to have, and eventually a ray of hope for them to really see through. So I think uh, let me ask you about firstly, what is creative dignity, something about it, and where did it all start in your mind?
So, as you said that, rightly said, I work with this within this craft sector, and I'm one of the like I run an NGO called Eki Beki, which is a very small NGO where we work with around 30, 40 artisans, not more than that. And when this pandemic started, we were initially nobody thought that it's going to go on for such a long time. And typically in handicraft industry, Jan to almost March, April, that's the time when you have a lot of craft melas happening within the country, where all these artisans go and sell their stuff. All these things were stopped right from first week of February. So suddenly there was this place where the artisans didn't know how to go about their day-to-day lives, and it just started as a WhatsApp chat where few of organizations who work with this or few designers who work in craft came together and we were chatting as to what is happening, something is happening with, I know this artisan is finding it difficult, whatever. That is when we realized nobody had a clear number as to how many artisans we have, how many, what are they doing right now, how are they dealing with it. And that is when few of us, it was an initial group of some 20 people, WhatsApp chat, we decided let's run a diagnostic. So we created a Google form, which we circulated through people we knew. And these 20, 25 people were all across East, West, North, South, wherever, from the whole of India. We managed to, within 2 weeks' time, we managed to reach out to around 1,200 organizations.
Wow.
These forms were filled, and we realized that within 2 weeks we realized that the first number was 20,000. Then we realized over 2 lakh artisans need basic ration. Then we got to know that over the amount of money which was uh, like blocked in terms of inventory
Mm,
was around 150 crores.
my
So within the market, 150 crores was the inventory sitting with the artisans. The export orders got cancelled, the no bazaar happened, and all these artisans typically start making their wares for even Diwali and all by April, May. So it was a very, very tough thing to do that time. And we were fortunate enough that the management consulting firm Kearney came in, and they gave us, because we were a bunch of creative people who had great intent, who had some data also, but we didn't know exactly how to go about it. So they gave us a structure, and that is where they gave us three phases for this whole operation. Called first was relief, that no artisans should go hungry. Second was rehabilitation, that see to it that how the artisans manage to sell their inventory and get back to routine life. And then the third one is rehabilitation. So slowly now, it's been 6 months. We are over 250 full-time volunteers, and around 400 people who come and go, interns from various schools and colleges like IICD, Jaipur, NIFT, NID, TISS. So we have people from IRMA. So we have students from all these places who are willingly helping us out. We have professionals from every uh, every part of the country.
Super.
In 2 months' time, we had 26 state hubs. Each state hub reached out to their local artisans, figured out a list of artisans who actually needed help. We created few SOPs for how to reach out to them in terms of either ration kits or transferring money directly to their account. And yeah, so relief is almost now getting over. In rehabilitation, we first pilot was done in Gujarat, where 40 artisans were connected to 4 online platforms. And these online platforms actually managed to sell over 25 lakhs worth of stuff in less than 15 days. And many of them got direct orders later on from the customers, because we had published their numbers, their catalogs were made. So people could actually, because now it's all online, people could actually see what the product is, what the dimensions are. And this was all done through volunteers. So somebody taught them how to take pictures, or somebody taught a photographer how to take, a wedding photographer is taking the product pictures. So this was all done voluntarily, and now we have Artisan Direct 2, where 10 online platforms now. Currently there are 6, but now we have 10 online platforms, and over 200 catalogs so far which are there. And we are even developing one IE app which can connect the artisans directly to the market. And this has all happened in last 6 months, which pre-COVID, if anyone would have asked, I would have laughed myself.
Wow. I think I can see a sense of great achievement and satisfaction, to have kind of given back. And it was a journey which was started with your venture, I believe, but eventually turned into a big moment. And
Yes.
never imagined that this would be the way. So, going back, these artisans are able to publish their products out on these platforms digitally, and they are being able to get all the access to the customers. Is that a simplistic way to put it?
Yes, yes. And we have in fact done few more projects, like there is a project called Karuna, where we have managed to reach out to women self-help groups in different, all the states. And each state has come up with a small doll. Now these dolls are literally 2 inches to 4 inches, that's the size.
All
But the small dolls, and we are selling it at a premium. We have done all the marketing, and creative dignity is doing all that. And these women, otherwise there was no source of income for them. So they have managed to make these dolls, and we have actually managed to, we have already started selling a lot. So for Maharashtra, in fact, the doll is called Bhavani, and it's made in Nagpur. by Mahila Kala Niketan. So this was a group of women who made it, and now there is a story coming out with her that what is Bhavani, what is the significance of Bhavani in Maharashtra. So all these stories we are creating, and then these are like hangings you can use inside your car, or just to put on your bag, or
Okay,
just to keep on your table. But this has generated livelihoods for
lot of
many
interest.
women. Yeah.
I mean, it is something very, very close to a woman, a child, a girl. In fact, in fact, that must have moved their hearts to really be,
Yeah,
connecting directly with you.
and actually, sorry, I missed the point of creative dignity. Why the name? So, what we believe is this is no charity. We are not asking for charity. We are not asking for donation. We are just saying that these are creative people who have actually made these things. So, you just buy it and give them the dignity they deserve. Crafts in India actually lacks this dignity at many places where uh, you don't give the respect due to the artisan. So this was the name actually is the dignity is very important for the artisan. If you will ask that uh, beyond the basic money, they want more money or the respect for their craft, each and everyone will go for the respect because they have their soul in it. So and we as urban people have to see it from that angle, as to somebody who has poured his soul and heart in it, how it is made, how what efforts have gone in, and unless we see that, uh, we are not going, we will not give that dignity back to them. So that was the whole reason: creative manufacturing and dignity together. So that
Wonderful.
was the
I
reason.
think that gives a good perspective about why it was named. Both creation is also there where these individuals are creating it, and we need to give that back as a dignity to them for the pride that they have, apart from the price that they want to have. So I think that's great. Even I was pretty impressed with the 3R kind of approach, where you bring them out of the current impact, then eventually whatever inventory is there, make sure that it rolls out, and then eventually they also start looking up because now this is a new normal
Yeah.
where you will see that everything is digital. So I believe digital has made an impact. Yes, but do you think that I'm a little bit a twisting question, but we would like to thank Corona for this pushing us back on, where we started thinking more creatively, and people are just coming as volunteering, and we are kind of grounded. I mean, we are humbled, and is that the way that
It,
you think?
totally, totally. I would actually agree because I've been in this field for a long time, and this is the first time in my career I have seen each and every person, organizer, organization, whoever is related to craft, has come in this moment together without any selfish motive. Everyone is here who is like, okay, these are my skills, and how can I contribute? Be it a designer, be it a maker, be it a person from marketing background, be somebody doing a survey, somebody from IT. Everyone has come back saying, okay, we we want to do something, and tell us what we can do. So in fact, this is a very open structure we have at Creative Dignity, where anybody who comes up with any idea is made the head of that working group. Okay, abhi tum samalo. And they have actually
Sure.
managed it. So we have over now 11 or 12 working groups, and
Okay.
where each working group has 3 4 professionals who are little senior, and then they have number of volunteers below them,
Right.
and everyone there, nobody thinks that, okay, somebody younger is giving an idea and how I will look
Okay.
at it, or there is nobody thinks about it in this way. So people are, so first time, I'm not kidding, first time
Uh-huh.
everyone is has come together. Everyone is working under one umbrella, including a lot of designers who are like For rejuvenation, they have volunteered saying, tell us which cluster need help and we will go and help them. So this is which many companies have been trying to do it earlier and never happened. Even artisans for that matter, somebody gets the help, calls back saying, मैडम हमको मदद मिल गया है, अभी और किसी को चाहिए है, आप उनको मदद कर सकते हैं क्या? So this is like, earlier it was a cutthroat competition where no, I should get it. And I guess that is a very typical Indian mentality where if you want to go ahead, you will pull the other person behind, not try to go in front of that person.
Mm.
So
You'll find it definitely in some of the individuals.
yeah, ते पाय ओढायची प्रवृत्ती. So that is something which for the first time we could see that everyone is actually doing these things selflessly, which is actually, I should say, thanks to Karuna.
I think, yeah, it's definitely. I mean, every challenge that is thrown creates opportunities, but one has to sight it and eventually turn it into where some of the aspects of our society get benefited. I think that's what is creative dignity. Being able to do it, I think the brains behind it are definitely somebody like you has to be congratulated for at least starting that spark. The spark is most important, right?
It just happened, like nobody thought about it, and it just happened. Now in fact we are a little bit stressed that how do we keep this momentum alive and how we can take this to the next level, which is really difficult. So uh, we are doing a lot of work on that because there is so much data available now. We have managed to do few town halls where the artisans came and spoke about their experiences of selling online for the first time. So all these things which happened for the first time for everyone. So the artisans actually came and spoke so that the other artisans can follow them. We recently had one town hall where the DC Handicraft came and the artisans listed out what are the government schemes they want to some change, or how they can be used by these artisans. So uh, it is all happening organically.
Right. I think it's a big movement, and it has whatever sense that I've got, limited sense that I've got, it has got a huge snowballing effect where it will roll and it will become a big snowball. Now it will be a skill to manage the flow in a
Yeah,
right direction to really guide it
yeah.
where it has to be this time. And now let me ask you this question. Being from architecture, being an architect. Uh, and artisans. I think there is a connect as a creativity part. But where does it did it start in your mind in your school days or college days or sometime that you thought that this is something that I want to do?
So yeah, I always loved creativity. So even as a kid, I have done these things that tutka mat, take that, convert that into a speaker or into a light or whatever. I've done that as a school kid. Uh, those were, I won't call it as a product design or anything, but I used to love those things. When I joined, and my mother wanted me to become an engineer, and I was strictly against it. That
Okay.
there is no way I want to do that. And finally, I got into architecture. First, I would say 4 years were okay. I was trying to figure out what is happening and how to design buildings and
That
whatever,
happens
whatever.
normally with the student. Yeah.
Yeah. And in final year, the thing which actually changed is
Right.
final year last semester, we had a workshop in bamboo.
Okay.
And that time in Nagpur, architect late Vinu Kale was there. He used to work extensively in bamboo. And he organized a workshop where all of us went and worked with the material for the very first time. And that was the first time I actually truly held a material, made something out of it. Looking
Okay.
back, it was a pathetic looking stool. I still have the photos from it, but I enjoyed it so much because in those whatever 1 week I think we had, in that 1 week, how the material behaves and how that can change the design or how that can change the thought process. That was something when you are designing a five-story building, we are just drawing it on the paper. That time computers were also not there, so we were just doing it on paper, erase something on top and it becomes four-storied, and add another five-storied and whatever.
Kind of,
Yeah,
mechanical thing that everybody,
correct.
run of the mill kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was something which I really loved, and later on I joined NID, where Professor Ranjan was there, and he was also completely into bamboo, and we had a lot of interesting discussions there. Somehow I have never managed to get back to bamboo so far, but I would really love to go back to that and explore the material further. So yeah,
All
this
right.
is my first craft story, I would say.
Uh, and that's where you basically got connected that something that one creates out of nowhere with his or her own thoughts eventually means so much. I think that would have been the realization where you started, and that connect about individuals who are artisans,
Right,
who are struggling for their life and putting their soul in the product they are
correct.
creating. And that is the
So in fact, in NID, we had something called as craft documentation, where we
okay.
have to actually go stay with the artisans for a week, learn from them, and design something with them. So that is another one which again I did with a bamboo cluster, and that is something still stayed with me. So yeah, working with them, when you actually see what they eat, how they eat, how is their day-to-day life, how far they go to just cut those bamboos, and what is the process it requires. So once you see everything behind it, you suddenly have a newfound respect to that, even a simple basket which is lying in front of you.
So you must have had so many moving experiences, right, with artisans. So
Always, anytime you go and work with any of them, it's always, you come back with a lot more than what you have gone there with. Especially because I go stay with them. Any craft, unless you learn it a little bit, you cannot do anything. So I go stay with them, and that is when uh, yeah, it changes you totally. And that is why I think, I guess I realize that we have a very rich cultural heritage which we are losing, and that is why I want to go back.
wow, I think that's a great thought. Um, but then, do you think? And I'm looking at that kind of rejuvenation of your own energy uh,
Yes,
that you would be getting when you visit
it is.
them,
It is.
right?
So, in fact, I go stay with them. One is I have we have three kids, so my family is that way very demanding.
Okay,
And so when I go to the village, so it's 3 days of, most of the places earlier there were no mobile signals also. So once you go
okay.
there, you are far away from the civilization, rather the urban world. And it used to be fabulous, the experience where no mobile, you are learning something new, and there is always something new to learn, and no family asking you anything, no kids asking you, Mama, what do I eat now? Do I go out now? I have come back now. Nothing. So uh, this has made my kids also more independent because I travel a lot, so they have learned to fend for themselves. And yeah, it's
I
a
mean, it's a great feeling going so close to the nature and where it matters, where the heart resonates for the things happening there, right? Ikibiki, is that the name I'm pronouncing? Uh,
Eki
also,
Beki.
right, it
Yeah.
is also a name that must have had some kind of meaning behind it, right?
Yes. So Eki Beki actually means, it's a Marathi word. So
Uh-huh.
it all started almost 15 years back when a very dear friend of mine, Sampada, and I decided to do something in crafts. So we were together in architecture. Then she did product designing from US, came back. but we wanted to do something in crafts, and we wanted a name which is very unique, but Marathi. So Eki Beki actually means odd, even, one, two. And how it relates back to our work is we actually try and do a lot of contemporary work, but with traditional crafts. So it is odd, even. We sometimes even do completely traditional work also. So it's nothing fixed. It's odd, even work we keep doing. So that is.
So by design itself, it is differentiated or hatke, as we
Yes.
call it. Maps so well, so aptly. Excellent, excellent. Now, just trying to get to your past and how things happen. But do you think that you go back in the past and you would like to do something in a different way? That now you are here, wherever you are, achieved so much.
So one thing I would definitely would like to go back and do is visit the VRC library and read the books, which that time it was more about this is what is needed to pass my examination. Beyond
Oh,
that, I would like to go and there is so much to learn, so much to read. So that is one experience I would definitely want to go back to past and
right. So I think it's something like back to school or back to college to the library and
yeah,
revisiting all the books that might mean a lot and different
correct.
as you go back. Good, wonderful. Now, moving forward, is there something that you have in mind that you want to achieve this or that or that? Is some kind of a big goal that you have in front of you?
So frankly, I never had a very big goal, but social mm, the type of work I'm doing, social enterprise or reaching out to more people through my work is something which actually excites me. When I'm
Mm,
doing that, I don't feel that I'm spending my time, energy, whatever. I'm super happy even after a 18-hour day. And so I guess that is my strength, and I would like to build on that. Thanks to the current scenario, I also realize that there is a huge scope and potential in the villages where we can actually go and generate these livelihoods through creative manufacturing, and that can actually bring our youth, that it would be a great idea for the younger generation
mm.
to get that training and do something fruitful within their area, not leaving for the city.
I think,
So,
yeah, yeah. I think that heads to something that we were talking about is the change. What do you see as a change that the education system should have? Because this is never taught, right? I mean,
yes.
it's completely out of the blue. Absolutely something that one has realized, and now the whole platform is rolling. But do you see some changes that you would like to suggest in the
Uh,
way that things are?
Definitely, like 5 years of architecture, that too from one of the very good schools. The thing which I remember most is the 1 week workshop where I actually worked with the material.
Mm,
So, this type of exposure experience is something which will definitely help, the younger generation. So, in fact, that I do through Eki Beki, where I take the artisans to schools and colleges, and we do these one-on-one workshops.
okay.
One right from 5-year-old kid how to draw a flower in Gond, then you draw the same flower in Madhubani, and you will find the difference. Once they do that, they at least know at back of their mind that okay, there is some craft called Madhubani in Bihar, there is some craft called Gond in Madhya Pradesh,
Mm,
and this is how they get the exposure. I also do that with the design students. Few architectural schools I take these artisans to, and there we have a 2-day workshop where the artisan first explains what the craft is, then they do a design project, the students and the artisan, and last day they present. So through this the students get to know about the craft, and the artisan also knows about a lot of things which the urban population wants or demands.
Okay.
So this is actually connecting both. Also, like because I've done architecture, I know something which I was never taught, which I learned now is when a village or city is made, rather village was made in past. In Marathi, it's called Bara Balutedar. So Bara Balutedar are the 12 crafts which are needed to start a village. And these are like right from a carpenter to a blacksmith to a farmer to a, a, a tailor, a
Mm.
barber. So these are the type of people who are actually needed because those days it was seen that the village has to be self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining and self-sufficient.
And you create employment for the people around. At the same time, more of a barter system, you can say, but nobody goes hungry there. And now what we have created, like I have not done urban planning, urban designing, but I have never heard this concept. The concepts which I was introduced to were far away, far remote, and I guess we have to learn something from the past and take that forward.
So I think a couple of points that you feel strongly about is experiential learning aspect of doing things by hand and experiencing it. Second dimension I thought is where you have to be associated with those individuals who matter. I mean, who have the skills, who have the experience, and if we are learning, then better be associated with them to really do those things, which actually will create that chemistry and changes in the way that you learn, grasp, and be associated and take that forward. I think that is a message that is very strongly coming out.
Yeah. In fact, I would like to add one more example. When I
Right.
said that go to the schools and take these artisans with me, uh, this is all, most of it is my self initiative. But surprisingly, children do remember. So when this pandemic started, I got a call from my kids' school saying, Auntie, how are the artisans managing now? So I
Oh,
said, yeah, they are
great.
actually not in a great shape. They are struggling. So the very first thing they did is they actually selected some 8, 10 artisans, created their catalogs, made a website, and through school, this was all through school as a student body project, and sent all those catalogs to people they knew, and
Oh,
people actually bought things. So first 2 months my artisans never had to ask for money. They were actually selling their products through the school students. The next phase when came where we were doing relief for other states, these children actually formed a group, and almost 11 children put together raised over 10 lakhs.
wow. That's
So some of them
great.
were, this can be my birthday money, whatever put together. They managed to raise over 10 lakhs, so which is a fabulous number. And they were so happy to know that, okay, so many artisans got help through it. So it's wonderful. Like it's not only that they learnt about the craft, but those human connections which come through it is also a great learning from this.
Yeah. I think it must be a great feeling to see even the next generation and kids are absolutely innocent. Uh, they are the shape, they are the material that we need to shape to the form that we want. Actually, I think it is hitting the right material in this situation. I believe that is really great. Now, doing this kind of a selfless, kind of self-committed work, you would definitely like to meet somebody who would be your role model, right, in this space.
Yes. So even before, so I won't say this is completely selfless. I get tremendous joy out of it. So I'm doing it for my own happiness.
Right.
But the person, like I have always look up to, and I have never met Sudha Murthy, and I would really love if someday I get to meet her, and the type of work she has done, and the uh, she is totally humble
Mm.
in spite of doing so much. So I guess by end of my life, if I have achieved even 1% of that, I would really feel lucky that something good has come out of it.
Wonderful. I think it is basically the aspiration like this where you have something like a Himalaya to climb, you know, and
Yes.
each step you take, there is somebody that you see, oh, that person has already achieved that, and
Yeah.
you feel like further to go some more steps. Though the steps might be difficult, and as you move along. I think on that great note. I would like to request you for any kind of message is there, if at all you see, because there is a good amount of lull in the space, and business is stopping, and you're touching the individuals very closely. You are in pandemic state. You saw the workers going back, right, in their states rather than they should have been in their villages doing the work that the skills that they have, the way that artisans would be. So do you have some kind of a message for the community?
Message I won't say, but I guess we have to do some introspection and see that why we are where we are, why, what caused this change, and why are we being so greedy about everything and not not giving much importance to the human life, which is sadly that is what is happening in our country right now. Everyone is focused more on me and like me, and the whole concept of we is missing. And if we can just do that, I guess we can walk together much longer.
Wonderful. I think the example of 1+1 becoming not even 11, but more than 1,000 is
Yes.
your own initiative, Creative Dignity, which is actually an example. I would definitely like to thank you, Vishpala, to have spare time to come on this platform. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shirish. It was lovely talking about it, talking
Right.
with you.
Uh, great thing to see, a great satisfaction, degree of achievement, and eventually giving back. I believe the whole sense of giving back, which is the most important message I would like to see that it's given to, and everything above everything is the happiness one gets.
Yeah.
In fact, you said that it is not selfless, but it is
For
happiness,
my own happiness, yes,
right?
it is
So
very selfish.
it is it is a message into it, and everybody goes behind the happiness if you see that. So it's a great insightful discussion, I would say, Vishpala. Thanks a lot, and let me tell you that there are a lot of wishes for you to be successful not only in the personal life where you have challenges with kids demanding, and your own desire demanding you to be pulled to a direction where you mean a lot, and your career, your focus that you have, Ikibiki as an initiative or Creative Dignity, it will go. I'm sure that it will go more than what you have imagined, and it will. And last not but not the least is meeting with Sudhamurti. I'm sure that you will meet.
Thank you.
That is
I really hope it happens someday.
it
Thank
will
you.
it will happen. So thank you very much, and all the best for the next one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for your time.
बिजनेस कोई भी हो, सक्सेस की नींव हम रखते हैं।
बुलंदियों को छूने की आपके अरमानों की उम्मीद जगाती जोत है, हर सपनों का हम स्रोत है।
सही स्ट्रेटेजी, परफेक्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हम आपके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आपकी स्वप्न पूर्ति करते हैं। स्त्रोत कंसल्टेक, सिनर्जाइजिंग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।